We left off on Tuesday, we talked a little bit about mortar mixing. This packet goes into a little bit more detail. So that table we have on the front page of the packet goes through the 4 different types of mortar, M, S, N, and O. The ratio of cement to lime is the same as the ratios I gave you before. Instead of going 1 to 1/4, I did 4 to 1, which is the same ratio. In this packet, though, they define that for each type of ratio, or for each type of mortar, there's a little bit more of an exact ratio of sand that they want into that mix. The second set of numbers there on the far right of that table I'll explain to you in just a minute. But for type M mortar, you can see the cement, the Portland, is 1 part, where lime is 1/4 part, and sand they're spelling out as 3 parts. So if we wanted to make a certain amount of mortar here, let's say we figure we're going to need 25 cubic feet of mortar. We need to figure out how much of each of those ingredients we need. So for cement, lime, and sand, the first thing we have to do is find the total. If we add those all up, what's 1 plus 1/4 plus 3? 4 1/4 is the total. So cement is 1 part out of 4 1/4 total parts. To figure out what that is out of 25, we cross multiply and divide. 1 times 25 divided by 4 1/4. And we get 5.88 cubic yards, or cubic feet, I should say, of cement. Now for lime, we're going to do the same calculation. Lime is only 1/4 part. So that's 1/4 part out of the total of 4 1/4 equals blank out of 25. So we'll cross multiply and divide. 1/4 times 25 divided by 4 1/4, which is going to give us 1.47 cubic feet of lime. And then the same for sand. The sand is 3 parts out of the 4 1/4 total parts. To figure out how much that is out of the 25 cubic yards, we'll cross multiply and divide. 3 times 25 divided by 4 1/4 is, what is it, 17.65 cubic feet of sand. Does that make sense? Now, to make this job a little bit easier for us, you can see there's that extra section on the far right of that table that is quantity per cubic foot of mortar. And what that is doing is it's breaking it down, breaking this calculation down for us so that we don't have to find that total. So you can see for type M, for cement, it is 0.29. For lime, it is 0.07. And for sand, it is 0.87. That is how much of each they need per cubic foot of mortar required. Now you'll look at that and you'll realize if you add those all up, that comes out to be larger than 1. There's a reason for that. When we mix these together, sand, of course, is very large particles, and lime is very small particles. If you actually mixed a cubic foot of sand with a cubic foot of lime, it would not add up to 2 cubic feet. Because of the large particles in the sand creates large gaps between the particles. Part of the lime actually will sneak in between those gaps, and you only get like 1.8 cubic feet total out of them. Same with Portland, and Portland cement is much smaller particles than either lime or sand. So it actually hides in those little gaps between the particles. So if you added these up, you actually get like 1.13 or something like that cubic feet. And that's part of the reason for that, is because it does kind of, when you mix them together, it kind of fills in the voids in the sand, so you don't get a true total. So the numbers that we have here that we calculated are actually going to be a little bit small anyway. So if I really wanted 25 cubic feet of type M mortar, to find the amount of cement I would need, I could use this 0.29. So 25 times 0.29 comes out to be what? It is 7.25. Did I do that right? Yep. So it's 7.25 cubic feet of cement. For lime, we would do the 25 cubic feet times 0.07, which is going to be 1.75, I believe, but we'll try it. It is 1.75 cubic feet. And then for the sand, we take the 25 cubic feet times 0.87, which is going to give us 21.75 cubic feet. So you can see all those numbers are larger than the ones we calculated by using the total. So this packet here, this table, makes it a lot easier to calculate the exact amount of cement, lime, and sand needed. So if you flip over to the second page of that packet, on the top of that second page, you got problems 1 through 5 there. And in these problems, it gives you a certain number of cubic feet of mortar that's required. I'll actually walk you through number 1. For number 1, we have type N mortar, and we're going to need 36 cubic feet. So to find bags of Portland, remember 1 bag for both cement and lime is equal to 1 cubic foot. So if we have 36 cubic feet of mortar needed, to find the amount of cement needed, it's going to be 36 times. If we look up type N on the first page, what is that decimal for cement? 0.16, good. So we'll 36 times 0.16 gives us 5.76 bags of cement or cubic feet of cement. For the lime, well, our number for lime was 0.16. That's also going to be 5.76. That's just 36 times 0.16 again. For sand, that number is 0.96. So we do 36 times 0.96 gives us, oops, try that again, 36 times 0.96, 34.56. Now that's cubic feet. However, what's it asking for the sand there? It's not cubic feet of sand, but cubic yards. How do I convert cubic feet into cubic yards? You're thinking square yards to square feet. For cubic, it is 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3, or 27. You divide by 27, and that is 1.28 cubic yards of sand. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to take about 15 minutes. I'm going to have you guys do problems 2, 3, and 4, or 2 through 5. And I also have a quiz I'm going to hand you to work on while I lecture to broadband over here.